Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation on a functional analysis and implementation. Today, we will briefly dive into what a functional analysis is, how it is typically performed. We will look at 5 specific ways in which you can implement one, those being through play, also known as control, attention, escape, tangibles, and alone. What is a functional analysis? A functional analysis is a way in which a behavior analyst can identify the variables or factors that influence the problematic behavior, usually in children. When it comes to performing this type of testing, there is actually no standard that goes along with it. It is all individualized to the perspective of your client. This basically means that a practitioner can implement an unlimited amount of conditions to address a specific hypothesis. How is it that someone would perform a functional analysis? Well, it's quite easy. First, you want to make sure that you have a test condition. Within this test condition, you want to make sure that it contains its very own motivating operation, also known as an MO. What is it that will motivate your individual to have the type of behavior that we want to reward? You also want to have the test condition's own form of potential reinforcement. What is it that your test condition would want enough that they seem willing to change their behavior to get? You want to make sure that you repeat each condition separately and within an alternating sequence. This helps you to see under which conditions a problem behavior might occur the most. You want to make sure you have multiple sessions and that you are repeating them. This as well will help you to determine under which conditions problem behaviors may be more likely to occur. So there are many conditions by which a financial or functional analysis can be implemented. We will focus on 5 different ways. First, we have the play control, or play, also known as control, attention, escape, tangible, and alone. First, we will take a look at the play or control condition. Within this condition, the antecedent condition, or MO, your motivating operant, should always have their preferred activities available. You want to make sure that social attention is always provided, as well as never placing any demands upon the individual. What happens if a problem behavior comes out and happens to happen at that moment? What is it that you should do? Simple. All you have to do is ignore it and redirect the client. Next, we have the attention condition. What would the antecedents look like within this condition? Attention might be diverted onto something else, or attention might be even withheld. What consequences might be implemented within this attention condition? We are looking at mild reprimands or even soothing forms of statements. You don't want to be harsh or, basically go crazy. So an example of this would just be by saying, "Oh, you don't want to do that. You might hurt somebody." Now we will take a look at the escape condition. The antecedent conditions here should be task demands and even have them shown as a 3-step procedure. You might see this in terms of having the individual fold a towel. You would say to them, "You need to fold a towel." Then you would model how they would fold the towel. And then you would go in hand over hand helping them fold the towel. The consequences you might occur within, or that may occur within this condition, would be that a break should be provided by the way of removing the task or stop prompting in order to finish the task. The tangible condition includes an activity or a toy that the individual most prefers. The antecedent condition here would be after having access to a preferred activity or toy that they prefer the most would be removed. You can remove it simply by saying, "My turn to play with that." You do, however, leave a less preferred item for them that will still be there and available. And you also want your attention to be you still want your attention to be there and available to them as well. When behaviors do occur during this condition, the consequences would be to return the preferred activity or toy that the individual was already playing with. You want to return that to them. The last condition we have is that of the individual being alone. The antecedents would be that of having a low level of environmental stimulation should be present. So you want to make sure that there are no task materials presented to them, even play materials, or even you yourself as the therapist should not even be in the room. You want the room to be basically like sterile, nothing in there whatsoever. So if we see any problem behaviors during this condition, it's semi like the play control condition where we want to ignore the problem behavior and even redirect them into doing something else. So now we're just going to do a little recap of what we just went over. And a functional analysis is the way in which a behavior analyst can identify the variables or factors that influence the problematic behavior, usually within children. When it comes to performing this type of testing, there is no standard that really goes along with it. It is all individualized to the perspective of that client and what best suits them. This basically means that a practitioner can implement an unlimited amount of conditions to address any specific hypothesis. There are 5 types or different ways in which we try and implement this, and they are play or control, attention, escape, tangible, and alone. Remember, each one of these conditions will have specific antecedent conditions or MOs that will be geared to each of your individual clients, and the consequences that go along with the antecedents can first be presented in the same fashion, and then you can tweak them and gear them towards your client and which way works actually best for them.